Thanks very much for joining my Jewish Learning for Sheberach Moment. I'm going to turn it over to Rabbi Rachel Druck, who will lead us through today's moment.
Hi, everyone, and welcome. Today's Sheberach Moment in some ways comes at a pretty fitting time in the Torah reading cycle. This past week's parasha, Ba'alotra, tells, among other things, the story of Moshe's older siblings, Miriam and Aharon, who talk to each other about Moshe and his marriage. God hears them, obviously, gossiping. God does not like that and gets angry and punishes Miriam by afflicting her with sarat, a skin disease that is commonly translated as leprosy, but which is actually distinct from what we now call Hansen's disease. It's its own thing that we don't entirely know what it is. It's a skin affliction, and it clearly has both a physical component and a spiritual component to it. Aaron then beseeches Moshe to pray on Miriam's behalf, and Moshe's prayer is short and to the point, and it has become one of the most famous prayers, if not the most famous prayer for healing in the Jewish tradition. So I will share my screen, and this is the prayer. So Moses called out to God saying, "Oh God, pray heal her." And in the Hebrew, that's El na refa na la. So not for nothing is Moshe considered to be one of the greatest leaders in the Jewish tradition. Though this prayer is only 5 words long, it has poetry and rhythm, and it packs a great deal of meaning into very few words. And I think it can offer some guidance or some options on how we can meaningfully pray for healing. So first, the fact that Moshe articulates his prayer for healing. The text says that Moshe cried out to God, and then also says saying. So if you are of the mind that no word in the Torah is superfluous, which the rabbis very much were, then there is no reason to have the word lemor, saying. So why is it there? And we have an answer from Rabbeinu Bachya, who states, Moshe cried out to the Lord. He expressed his pain over Miriam's fate and prayed for her. The reason the Torah continues with the word lemor, saying, was to tell us that this prayer by Moses was not merely in his heart, but that he verbalized it. This is the meaning of Tractate Brachot in the Talmud 31. If someone prays, they must move their lips and enunciate the words of their prayer. The reason is that by moving one's lips, the letters one says assume a certain shape in the atmosphere through the use of voice, breath, and verbalizing them. When such a prayer has assumed a certain shape, it ascends to the celestial regions and arrives in the presence of the Lord. So the Torah text could easily have made some kind of blanket statement like, and Moshe prayed for his sister, or used only cried out, or only saying. But there's a reason that the text wants to emphasize the physical act of speaking, this physical act of prayer that Moshe engages in. That by saying the words asking for healing and having that prayer physically exist in space, it can have an effect, whether physical, hopefully, or metaphysical. Second, the fact that Moshe asserts his right to not only request healing, but to demand healing. This second source that we'll read right now, Da'at Zkenim, also deals with the issue of a seemingly superfluous word in the Torah. Why does Moshe say na twice? Na, please, right? El na, refa na la. So according to this source, El na refa na la, heal her please, O God, I beseech you, or literally heal her, please, oh God, please. The first word na is to be understood as a plea, whereas the second time Moses uses the word na, it means now. So when faced with illness, whether in ourselves or those we love, we see from this prayer that we can allow ourselves to fully embrace the sense of urgency that we feel and to stop being polite, even when it comes to praying to God. Yes, we ask for healing, but we also have both the ability and the right to demand that God listen to us and ease our suffering or the suffering of our loved ones now, immediately. And finally, the fact that we don't need to name the person that we are praying for. This is a passage from the Talmud. So the Gemara cites what Rabbi Yaakov said, that Rabbi Chisda said, anyone who requests mercy on behalf of another need not mention their name. As it is stated, please God, heal her, please. El na rafana la. And he, Moshe, did not mention Miriam's name. Our prayers for healing can be personal and specific, as I assume that most of the prayers here will be. But we can also use our prayers to ask, to demand healing for those we don't know, to speak and send our words out into the universe in the hope that they ascend the celestial regions, literally or metaphorically, and that they can affect healing where it is needed in our world, whether we know the person or whether it's a general healing for our world. And with that, I wish your loved ones the ability to pray for healing, the ability to pray for healing in a way that creates meaning in the world and that creates healing in the world.
So I'll share the words from Sheberach while Rabbi Drek leads us through the prayer.
Sheberach Avotenu, Mekor HaBracha Li'imotenu, may the source of strength who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Sheberach Imotenu, Mekor HaBracha La'avotenu, bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen. Sheberach Avotenu Avraham Yitzchak v'Yaakov, Sarah Rivka Rachel v'Leah, hu yivarech v'yirapeh et hacholim. Hakadosh Baruch Hu Yimaleh Rachamim Alehem, Lachrimam u'arapotam, Lachazikam u'achayotam, Yishlach lahem refuah shlema min hashamayim, refuat hanefesh u'refuat haguf, betoch shar cholei Yisrael, hashta ba'gala u'bizman kariv v'nomar Amen. Let the one who blessed our ancestors, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Sarah, Rebekah, Rachel, and Leah, bless and heal the sick. May the Holy One have mercy on them, to heal and cure them, to keep them alive. May the Holy One send them a complete cure from heaven, the cure of the soul and the cure of the body, among the rest of the sick of Israel. And let us say, Amen.
Thank you all for being here today. We'll see you next week at the same time. And we continue to accept your names in the chat if you want to share those for another moment before we close. Thank you to Rabbi Rachel Druck.
Thank you. I'll share the link to the source sheet in the chat. Apologies that I didn't do that previously for anyone who's interested.